us in case they had to clear IEDs, or they, one way or the other, they find them, clear them without any incidences or worst case scenario. About a half mile outside the village, a second roadside bomb was found. It was approximately 40 pounds. Afghan National Army worked on the primary trigger. They cleared it. In my pre-brief to our platoon leader, and again I reiterated, be careful with secondary trigger, because if the secondary trigger that we had found in that we had been finding in most of the IEDs leading up to this one was what they call a tamper-proof. You couldn't move it, you couldn't touch it, it would go off, no matter what you did. So we cordoned off the IED. My platoon leader, Second Lieutenant Jared Avey, called me up to do my site exploitation. I had finished up doing my job, and at the time when we had cordoned it off, it was me, it was Second Lieutenant Jared Avey, Specialist Vakari, Specialist Cherry, and I. In working with the A&A to cordon it off. Specialist Buckley was our, we call him our JTAC. He was our liaison back and forth between us and air support if we needed it. He was also there. When I finished my job, Specialist Cherry had brought it to my attention that there was a single A&A or Afghan National Army member walking up to the bomb. He immediately picked it up, which was not uncommon, unfortunately. A&A loved to pick up the bombs. They liked to take pictures. It was not too much of a pleasant sight. We tried telling them no matter how many times we told them not to pick it up, they thought it was, they found one, they thought it was photo op time. They thought they were going to be on the front page of the paper. At the point that we turned around and we saw him pick it up, I hear the explosion. I don't remember much after that. I remember regaining consciousness. I felt the excruciating burn, not knowing what it was because I was not there fully because of the brain injury that I had suffered. It took me a few seconds to realize that what was happening to me was the heat from the bomb was burning me as I lay there on the ground. I had no clue what my injuries were. I just knew that I hurt excruciatingly all over. I pushed myself up onto my right elbow. At this time, I'm just starting to regain some of my vision, trying to figure out my surroundings and what's going on around me. I pushed myself up onto my right elbow, and I looked down, and I noticed my pant legs have pretty much been blown off. My legs are there, blood's all over the place. I couldn't hold myself up too much longer. I ended up falling back down to the ground and just hollering for help. When I fell is when I discovered that towards the end of looking at my legs, about the time I went back down and fell to the ground, I realized that I couldn't see out of my left eye, and I had barely any vision in my right eye due to the amount of blood that was falling into my eye. And at that time, when I looked down to the ground before I hit, I realized how much blood was pouring off my face. You don't really do much of anything but just lay there and holler for help. That's all you can do. Things started to get blurry again at that point. And from here on out, it's difficult for me originally it was difficult for me to know what was going on. Because between the brain injury and all the other injuries, I had lost a good chunk of my memory. I've spoken with my fellow soldiers. I speak with them daily, hourly, pretty much, back over in Afghanistan. Some of them have ended up, through injuries and through other situations, have ended up back at BAMC trying to deal with the situation. And they've told me what kind of, the missing pieces of what I've needed to know to kind of put my puzzle back together.